Back with you here on Wave Listens Live. We are joined now by Dr. Doug Kane from Cornerstone Wellness Center and Sally Pierce, one of the neuropathy patients there. Dr. Kane, it's always good to see you, and Sally, it's great to meet you and have you on the show today.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for having us on.
Let's start first and foremost. It's always great when we do a neuropathy refresher for folks out there to kind of get into what we're talking about here today.
Yeah. So the typical causes of, the typical places that we experience neuropathy, it's called peripheral neuropathy for a reason. So it's usually our extremities, usually the feet, can be the hands. It actually can be any nerve in the body, but something has caused these nerves the ability to regenerate but not heal. So they're starved for oxygen, they're starved for nutrition. If you couldn't breathe or have a meal for a while, you'd be in pretty dire straits, and that's what happens to our nerves. And so they lose that healing capability. What we do with our neuropathy reversal protocol is to help get the oxygen and nutrients back to those nerves so they can heal. It's a slow process, but over time we can get that back.
Which leads us into Sally's story, which I know is going to be very interesting for people to hear today. Let's talk for a minute about what you were experiencing and then what your experience was like when you dealt with some other professionals before you met Dr. Kane.
Okay. When I got to Dr. Kane, my pain, discomfort was all the way up here, and it was very intense. And now I'm starting my 5th month with Dr. Kane, and the intenseness is gone. I mean, I feel a little something here, but it's easy to ignore when I'm doing something. And the intensity now is just really in my feet and a little bit here, but that's kind of going away now. So my balance has improved, my walking has improved, and I'm feeling a whole lot better.
I was going to ask you, I can't imagine what it's like to go through your day and try to have a normal day when you're feeling that high up into your legs. How long were you dealing with that, and what were those days like?
Well, my neuropathy started in 2013, and it just kind of slowly got worse. And walking was just something I always loved to do, and that was almost just impossible because my balance was so bad and I couldn't lift my foot all the way. Sometimes my toe would catch the carpet and I'd trip, and yeah, so
10 years of dealing with that, though.
The worst part was the last 2 years. I mean, where it really got intense.
Well, what were you told before you got to Dr. Kane? Because we've talked about it before on these segments that a lot of times people have been told, sorry, there's nothing you can do. What was your experience?
Yeah, well, pretty much the same. Told there was nothing I could do, and so I just was living with it until I happened to see an ad for Dr. Kane on TV and called the number right away, and he got me started, and things started improving immediately.
Well, I think it's why it's so important, which I'm sure you're about to touch on, why you can't wait with these types of things. If you're experiencing it, get it scheduled today so that you can have a look and start this process, because she maybe could have been saved 10 years of that.
So it's an important point. Neuropathy is categorized as a progressive degenerative neurological condition. It's the #1 neurological condition diagnosed today. In her case, she had almost 90% sensory loss because she'd been dealing with it for so long. Usually we'll catch it where it's just the foot. In her situation, it moved all the way up the lower leg, past the knee, into mid-thigh. And we were very honest with her and saying, once you get into this, 90% sensory loss, there's a good chance there's going to be some permanence. We can help you. We can help get things better. And at her 3-month checkup, we had regained 20% more of that sensation. But that's been a game changer for her. One of the biggest things we noticed in the office is that she wasn't driving herself to the office. She lives in Louisville. Our office is in New Albany. And then we noticed one day, hey, your daughter's not here with you today. And we learned that, she had been limiting herself to small trips driving around home, but not getting on the interstates, not doing some of these larger trips. And that's really what we see with our neuropathy patients. It starts with something small. We start making concessions. Those begin to snowball. Next thing you know, you limit yourself to being at home, and then you lose, opportunities to do things with friends and families, attend religious services, and just other social gatherings, and that can snowball into depression, and it just feeds on itself, and it can just really deteriorate quality of life pretty quickly.
And sadly, we know people are creatures of habit, so you get used to something, even though it's not a lifestyle that you want to be living or a pain level that you should be okay with. You're now conditioned to live that way. What has it been like for you? Obviously, you said about 5 months now you've been in treatments. How has your day-to-day changed, and obviously your quality of life?
Well, really just about in every way, because for one, the balance has gotten so better. I had to be careful at home. Just walking through a doorway, I'd lose balance and hit the side of the frame of the doorway, and I can now go walk my dog, which was just impossible before because of the balance and my dog pulling.
Sure.
And I'm not ready to go forward yet, and so everything has just improved.
Well, we are so happy to hear that. Of course, now you're able to walk the dog when the weather is turning nice here. You've probably had a lot of patients over the years who you wish you could have gotten to sooner, but you have been able to help get that mobility back.
Absolutely. And that's really the whole point of why we're here sharing this, is because it's still taught that there's nothing that can be done. There's some medications that can mask the symptoms, but we're more interested in doing something that gets at the root of the problem so that we don't have these debilitating issues, and that's the whole point, is you can reverse neuropathy now.
Okay, so you need to schedule those neuropathy appointments today if you can. Dr. Kane, for everybody out there who's listening who maybe had been dealing with a similar situation to what Sally was dealing with for a long time, how do you want to get them started and get those appointments booked?
Best thing you can do is just call the number on your screen right now. My staff is standing by. They can take your call. You can visit the webpage there, and you will see the other interviews that we've done here on Wave Listens Live, so you can get a better understanding of what other people have gone through. My staff is standing by. They will schedule you for an appointment, and we can begin with a good exam so we know exactly what we're dealing with and how to help.
All right. So, Dr. Kane, it's always great to have you on, hear these stories of how you're helping people in our community. Sally, it was great to get to meet you, and I'm glad you're able to walk the dog and have some of this aspects of your life back that I'm sure you missed for so long.
Yeah, just like cooking.
Yeah.
I didn't want to cook. Now I'm cooking. Everything's improved.
We love it. Have a good one, guys.